The civil war in the Democratic Party rages on. For most of you who don't know, there's an ongoing civil war with new upstarts in the Democratic Party, far left members of Congress that oppose the mainstream Democratic Party, the moderate Democratic, the corporate Democrats, whatever you want to call them. In fact, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, in her opposition to the Democrats, according to 538, has supported Trump more than half of Congress, at 17% of her votes supporting Donald Trump's position, although inadvertently. Not that she agrees with them, but that they both oppose Democrats. A lot of people are sending me this video. I have probably received about 500 plus or more messages about a video about who really controls Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I gotta say, this is not news. It's not new information. And a lot of the information was pulled straight off the Young Turks YouTube channel. In this video, it talks about how brand new Congress was an attempt, and the Justice Democrats was an attempt to prop up candidates to support their move to replace Congress. None of this is new information, but I guess there's a lot of people who just don't know because they haven't been following this story for the past several years. I didn't think any of this information was particularly relevant because, again, it's not news. Cenk Uygur, Kyle Kulinski formed Justice Democrats. They were kicked out a year or so ago. All of this information is public. Everything they're doing is public. Everything that they do today is public. But I guess no one's ever put it together and explained it to conservatives. If you read the news fairly often, if you follow even my videos fairly often, you would probably know all of this. And so but I guess when it's put together in this semi-sensational way, it makes for good entertainment. Right now, Democrats are seeking a primary challenger for Ilhan Omar. And we have this story from Splinter News. A super PAC is already set to oppose her. I will read these stories, but I want to talk about who pulls the strings for Ocasio-Cortez because And look, I know even doing this video, people are not going to stop sending me this video, but I got to say it's extremely frustrating to be inundated with hundreds of emails and messages on various social platforms about something that isn't relevant information. I understand many of you may be concerned because Justice Democrats are essentially pulling the strings for Cortez. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Oh, God, the Hill is so annoying. It frequently updates itself and then just plays these stupid videos. Let's mute site. There we go. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was one of, I think, hundreds of people that Justice Democrats went through to try and depose, to remove from power mainstream Democrats. Their website explained all of this going back years. Cenk Uygur on the Young Turks talked about it at great length. They looked for Democrats who were vulnerable. They wanted to find a small number of votes to primary. Primarying is the practice of targeting a district that only ever votes Democrat. And then because people don't vote in primaries, they can get people like Cortez in. That's it. They're going to keep doing it. It's what they've been doing. It's not new. I guess I'm surprised to find out so many people didn't know this, considering I talk about it endlessly. I've probably made 20 or 30 videos talking about the strategy of the Justice Democrats and brand new Congress. I've even talked about the ethics complaints that they've been involved in. But many people just keep sending me this video. So there you have it. But let's talk about what's going on beyond that. Ilhan Omar was, my understanding is that she wasn't one of these candidates, but she was endorsed by them. The Democrats are now seeking to remove her. Mainstream Democrats are seeking to fight back against Cortez. And yes, many of the other far left new members of Congress. I believe the Democrats are going to defeat the progressives because although Justice Democrats, they have this strategy, the Democrats have caught on and are going to use it in the same way. They're going to either erase the districts of these far left challengers or, they're going to primary them in the same fashion. Let's read what's going on with Ilhan Omar. Some Minnesota Democrats, aghast at controversial comments made by Ilhan Omar, are taking initial steps to recruit a candidate to run against her in next year's primary election, seeking to buck history in one of the nation's most progressive legislative districts. Several party leaders said they have had discussions about finding a candidate to take on Omar just 2 months into her first term in Congress. Oh, that's annoying. But even those who were deeply offended by Omar's comments about Israel concede they have not yet found anyone to challenge her. There's definitely some buzz going around about it, but it's more a buzz of, is anyone talking about finding someone to run against her than it is anyone saying they're going to run against her or contemplate it. There's definitely talk about people wanting someone to run against her, said State Senator Ron Latz, who represents a portion of Omar's district. In her first weeks on the job, Omar sparked outrage for comments that critics said relied on anti-Semitic tropes. First, for suggesting that politicians who support Israel do so for financial reasons, and then for suggesting that lobbyists are pushing for allegiance to another country. Those comments prompted 2 votes in the House condemning anti-Semitism as well as other forms of hate speech. In Minnesota, Omar's constituents took note. Our community is exasperated by Rep. Omar's unfulfilled promises to listen and learn from Jewish constituents while seemingly simultaneously finding another opportunity to make an anti-Semitic remark and insult our community. Steve Hunig's executive director of the Jewish Community Relations Council of Minnesota and the Dakotas said in a statement. Omar met with Hunig's last month after her initial remarks received widespread condemnation. She has continued to meet with Jewish leaders both in Minneapolis and Washington, a spokesman said. They're targeting Cortez with the same strategy. They want to counter-primary them. They are not going to have the same easy ride that people like Joe Crowley had. Joe Crowley was the incumbent who lost to Cortez, and I believe he won something like 10 terms because no one challenged him, because the Democrats supported him, and because of that, and because the district overwhelmingly votes Democrat, he always won. We're now going to find this is going to be an expansion of the civil war within the Democrats. And you know what? I should say this. It's not a civil war. It's a progressive invasion. These are not Democrats who are pushing back on the mainstream. These are outsiders trying to challenge the Democratic establishment and take ground away from them, and they have won. The mainstream Democrats have lost. Joe Crowley was the 4th most powerful Democrat, and he was removed by an outside challenger. Now people are going to try and challenge Ilhan Omar. We have this story from Splinter News, which I want to add, Splinter News is absurdly far left. They're talking about a super PAC who is already set to oppose Ilhan Omar's 2020 re-election campaign. I think it is entirely possible. Omar, Cortez, Rashida Tlaib, and others will be removed in 2020. They will lose. It's only been a couple months, but conservatives are already plotting how to replace the new batch of Democrats in the House. So apparently, not only is it the Democrats, but the Democrats and the conservatives are essentially targeting the same people. Ashley Balcerzak, a reporter with the Center for Public Integrity, posted a screenshot on Thursday of a new political action committee whose goal for the 2020 elections is crystal clear. The paperwork for the Defeat.io PAC was filed on March 12th and signed the following day. The PAC is the latest in a string of new organizing bodies aimed at taking down Omar and fellow freshman Democrat Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. But why is it conservative? Perhaps it's the Democrats. I mean, Omar is fantastic for Republicans. Trump gets to paint the Democrats as anti-Semitic, as socialists. Why would the Republicans want to get them out of power or out of office? According to their FEC filing, the committee is based in Minnesota and is solely focused on opposing the future Omar re-election campaign. It's also a super PAC, meaning it can accept unlimited donations. The filing lists Omar Einafshar as the treasurer. I don't care who the names are. They say he's a political consultant who, per his personal website, used to run a blog called The Republican Michigander, so it does look like they're conservative, and served for at least 4 years as the Livingston County GOP chair. Houlihan, who previously worked as a treasurer for the Steve Stockman for Senate PAC, Stockman, a Republican House representative from Texas, was convicted in April of 23 felony fraud charges. When reached for comment via email, Houlihan provided the following statement. I am strictly an advisor in regard to campaign finance compliance matters and do not speak for the committee. Defiance.io PAC is a nonpartisan PAC, and our chair is Kevin Einafshar. Conservatives aren't the only ones eyeing a replacement for Omar, though. News of this super PAC was preceded by a report published by The Hill early Thursday morning detailing the Democratic opposition Omar's already facing just 2 months into her term. According to the piece, Democrats both in D.C. and in Minnesota are already looking for primary candidates to run against Omar after her recent remarks about the powerful Israel lobby. Though, to be clear, the people at The Hill interviewed, such as State Senator Ron Latz, either opposed Omar's candidacy in 2018 or ran against her in the string primary. While the opposition to Omar is its own twisted mess, the anti-Omar super PAC isn't exactly unique. Ocasio-Cortez was the first of the freshman Democrats to face preemptive PAC opposition, as the Stop AOC PAC, backed by shady conservative grifter Dan Backer, was reported by Media Matters last week. But as we know, Media Matters president, I believe it's the president, is a bigot who posted a bunch of horrifying things. And the only reason I bring that up is because Media Matters tries to use that technique against conservatives. The point is, Not only are the Democrats challenged by the new far left that is seeking to invade their party through brand new Congress, Cenk Uygur, which he helped launch Justice Democrats, although he was booted from it. The conservatives and the Democratic establishment are pushing back on the far left. And I got to say, to be honest, I don't necessarily think that is entirely a bad thing. I think that as much as I don't like the establishment, these far left individuals are the wrong kind of far left. If you want to believe in, whatever far left policy, okay, fine, whatever. Just don't be an identitarian. I would much prefer an anti-identitarian candidate than an identity-based one. I know Ocasio-Cortez's Green New Deal is an identity politics bill. It is identity politics in a resolution. I don't like these people, and I don't like the mainstream establishment either. So I have to say this. I do respect the willingness of those to challenge the machine. Certainly, I do not like the mainstream establishment politicians, mostly the Democrats. I've never liked Republicans, so they're not really, an issue on my radar. They're just people I don't agree with. But the Democrats are the corporatist. I feel like the Democrats manipulate people like me and my friends into supporting the machine. That's why I don't like them. We can all look at the Republicans and be like, yeah, we don't like those guys. But the Democrats are the Pied Pipers leading people down the drain. These people are not the answer. So they're going to face a challenge from the machine. But we'll leave it there. Stick around. I got one more video coming up in just a few minutes. Once again, about the cringe of the Democrats. I will see you in a few minutes.